What if I told you that what's about to unfold before you isn't random? You didn't stumble across this message by accident. Every moment of your life has led you here, right now, to receive something profound, something that could shift your life in ways you've only dreamed of. It's as though fate itself guided you to this moment, a turning point where the truth you've been seeking will finally reveal itself. The energy around you, once turbulent and chaotic, is beginning to settle as your life realigns itself toward its purpose. This isn't about coincidence. It's destiny unfolding, and you're standing at the heart of it. For too long, you've lived beneath the weight of doubts, trapped by shadows, cast by others' expectations and manipulations. But that's no longer your reality. You're stepping into the light, into a version of yourself that isn't confined by the limitations of the past. As you listen, something will stir deep within, a call to rise, to embrace the power that's always been inside you. The transformation isn't just happening around you, it's happening through you. You can feel it, can't you? That quiet, steady force growing stronger every day, making you more resilient, more aware, and more unstoppable. This power isn't about controlling others or forcing your way into the world. It's about alignment, about the way you think, the way you move, and the way you respond to challenges. When you're aligned with your true self, the energy you emit is magnetic. You won't have to chase after opportunities. They will find you. The people who once doubted you, those who dismissed your dreams or tried to hold you back, will no longer be obstacles. They will watch, powerless to resist the shift happening within you as you rise above their influence. Their control will crumble, not because you fought them, but because your authenticity is too powerful to be denied. There's a freedom that comes with embracing who you are, a freedom that allows you to speak your truth without hesitation. You've spent so much time seeking approval, adapting to others' expectations, and doubting your own worth. But now, the mask you once wore is slipping away. You're not here to be small, to blend in, or to be silenced by fear. You're here to be the version of yourself that commands respect by simply existing in your truth. And that truth isn't fragile. It's bold, resilient, and capable of shattering every illusion that has kept you confined. Do you remember all those moments when you felt powerless? When it seemed as though life was happening to you and there was nothing you could do to change it? Those moments were never about defeat. They were about preparation. Every struggle, every heartbreak, and every setback was shaping you, molding you into the person you're becoming today. The pain wasn't punishment, it was growth. The betrayals weren't meant to destroy you. They were meant to teach you discernment. And the moments when you felt like giving up were simply tests of your resilience, reminders that even when you feel weak, there's strength hidden within. Now, as you emerge from the fog, you begin to see things with a clarity you've never experienced before. The lies you once believed about yourself, that you weren't good enough, smart enough, or capable enough, begin to fade. The manipulations that once controlled you lose their power. You're not the same person who doubted their worth. You're the person who now knows they were always destined for more. And with that knowledge comes a new kind of power, one that doesn't need validation from the outside world. It's a power that's rooted deep within, unwavering and unshakable. As you step into this version of yourself, you'll notice something incredible. the world around you begins to shift in response. The people who once tried to diminish you will find that they no longer have that ability. Their words won't sting, and their opinions won't matter because you've taken control of your narrative. Instead of being reactive, you've become proactive. Your decisions are no longer driven by fear, but by wisdom. You trust yourself, and that trust is what makes you untouchable. There's no need to prove anything to anyone anymore. Your actions, your presence, and the energy you radiate will speak for themselves. As you walk into rooms, people will feel your presence before you even say a word. They won't know exactly what's different about you, but they'll sense it. An undeniable power, a quiet confidence that commands attention. And it's not because you've changed who you are. It's because you've finally embraced who you've always been. This transformation doesn't require grand gestures or dramatic changes. It happens subtly, but its impact is profound. You'll start to notice how situations that once caused anxiety no longer faze you. The obstacles that seemed insurmountable will begin to feel like stepping stones instead of barriers. You'll face challenges with a calm, steady resolve, knowing that nothing can break you because you've already survived so much. The strength you now carry isn't just from surviving, it's from thriving. You're no longer content with simply getting by. You're here to live fully, boldly, and unapologetically. When you embrace your authenticity, you give others permission to do the same. Your transformation becomes an inspiration, a beacon for those who feel trapped by their own doubts and fears. They'll see you and realize that if you can rise above the pain, the manipulation, and the limitations, so can they. Your presence will remind them that they too are capable of breaking free and stepping into their own power. And this ripple effect isn't accidental. It's the result of you embodying your truth, living in alignment with your purpose, and refusing to be defined by anything other than your own potential. As you continue on this journey, you'll see that the power you've discovered within yourself isn't just for you. It's for everyone you touch, every life you influence, and every soul you uplift. You are not just rising, you are lifting others as you do. The energy you carry will become contagious. Just as you've been guided to this moment, you'll guide others to theirs. You'll become a catalyst for transformation, not because you're trying to change anyone, but because your presence alone will inspire change. The strength you exude will give others the courage to face their own shadows, to confront the lies they've believed, and to embrace their own truth. This is the power of authenticity. It doesn't just liberate you, it liberates everyone around you. As you continue to walk this path, you'll find yourself reflecting on moments when you allowed others to dictate your choices. You once bent under the pressure of opinions, thinking that blending in was safer than standing out. But now you understand that playing small never protected you. It only delayed your growth. You're no longer living under the illusion that someone else's validation will bring you peace. The peace you seek doesn't come from the outside world. It comes from within, from knowing who you are and accepting that person without apology. When you embrace this truth, an incredible freedom follows. You start to see through the games people play, the manipulation they attempt, and the control they try to exert. What once felt confusing now becomes clear, as though you've gained a new lens through which to see the world. This isn't about becoming cynical or distrusting. It's about understanding the dynamics at play and choosing not to participate in them. You realize that your energy is sacred and not everyone deserves access to it. Setting boundaries no longer feels like a burden. It feels like an act of self-love. And that's exactly what it is. Self-love. For the first time, you're putting yourself first, not in a selfish way, but in a way that honors your value. You're no longer willing to sacrifice your peace for the sake of others' comfort. The people who truly care about you will understand this shift, and those who don't will fade away. But you won't fear their departure because you know that losing people who don't align with your purpose is not a loss. It's a gain. It makes room for those who will uplift and support you in ways you never thought possible. This shift in your energy will be undeniable. The same people who once dismissed you will now be drawn to you, not because you've changed for them, but because they can sense the change within you. They'll be curious, intrigued, and perhaps even intimidated by the strength you now exude. Some will try to reconnect, hoping to access the version of you they once knew. But they'll quickly realize that person no longer exists. You've outgrown the need to fit into their expectations. You've evolved into someone they can no longer control or categorize. And as you rise, you'll face moments of solitude. But this solitude isn't lonely. It's empowering. It's in these quiet moments that you'll come to appreciate the depth of your growth. You'll find solace in your own company, knowing that you don't need external distractions to feel complete. The world will try to convince you that you need constant stimulation to be happy, but you'll know better. True happiness comes from within, from the peace of knowing you're living authentically and purposefully. The path ahead won't be without challenges. There will be times when doubt creeps back in, whispering old fears and insecurities. But this time, you'll recognize it for what it is, a temporary wave, not a permanent state. You'll have the tools to navigate these moments because you've already faced them before and come out stronger. The difference now is that you won't be battling them from a place of weakness. You'll be confronting them from a place of strength, knowing that they are merely remnants of a past you've already overcome. Every obstacle you encounter will be another opportunity to reaffirm your power. The more you face, the more you'll grow. It's as if the universe is testing your resolve, asking you, are you ready to claim what's yours? And every time you say yes, the universe will respond with opportunities, blessings, and breakthroughs. The doors that once seemed locked will begin to open, not because someone handed you the key, but because you realized you've had it all along. You'll start to see how everything you've been through has prepared you for this moment. The heartbreaks, the failures, the betrayals, they weren't there to break you. They were there to build you, to strip away the layers of self-doubt and reveal the core of who you are. The pain you endured was a crucible, burning away everything that wasn't meant to stay and leaving behind the purest version of yourself. And that version is unstoppable. This isn't to say that you'll never feel pain again. Life will always have its ups and downs, but you'll navigate them differently. You won't be shattered by the storms because you've learned how to anchor yourself. You've become the eye of the storm, calm and centered, while everything around you may be in chaos. This is the power of resilience, a power that doesn't come from avoiding hardship, but from embracing it and using it as fuel for growth. People around you will notice this change, and they'll respond to it in different ways. Some will admire you, inspired by your strength and authenticity. Others may feel threatened because your growth forces them to confront their own stagnation. But none of this will affect you the way it once did. You won't take their reactions personally, because you'll understand that their responses are a reflection of their own inner world, not a judgment of yours. You'll learn to stand tall, unshaken by praise or criticism, because your worth isn't tied to external validation. As you continue to evolve, you'll discover that the things you once thought you needed to feel happy no longer hold the same weight. Material possessions, status, and recognition may have once seemed important, but now they'll feel secondary to the peace you've cultivated within. That peace is priceless, and you'll guard it fiercely. You'll realize that success isn't about accumulating things. It's about living a life that feels aligned, purposeful, and fulfilling. And with this realization, you'll begin to attract the kind of abundance that aligns with your soul. Abundance doesn't just mean financial wealth. It means living a life rich in love, joy, and meaningful connections. You'll find yourself surrounded by people who uplift you, opportunities that excite you, and experiences that nourish your spirit. This is the reward for embracing your truth, for shedding the layers of who you thought you had to be and stepping into who you truly are. But remember, this isn't the end of the journey. There's always more to discover, more layers to peel back, and more growth to experience. What makes this journey beautiful is that it's ongoing. You're not racing toward a finish line. You're evolving, expanding, and becoming more aligned with your purpose every day. The growth never stops, and neither does your potential. You'll wake up each morning with a renewed sense of purpose, excited for what the day holds. Not because everything will be perfect, but because you know that whatever comes your way, you have the strength to handle it. This is the life you've been working toward, a life where you're no longer a passive observer, but an active creator. You're in the driver's seat now, steering your life toward the destiny you were always meant to fulfill. There's a moment when you realize that all the control you once thought others had over you was never real. The fear of their judgment, the pressure to meet their expectations, the need for approval. It was all an illusion you created in your own mind. You gave them the power, and now you're taking it back. This isn't an act of rebellion or defiance. It's an act of self-realization. You're finally understanding that no one can dictate your worth or define your destiny. Only you can do that, and you're choosing to do it with confidence and clarity. As this awareness grows, you'll notice how your interactions begin to change. The conversations you once dreaded, the confrontations you once avoided, no longer hold the same weight. You're no longer afraid to speak your mind because you've realized that your voice matters. It doesn't have to be the loudest in the room, but it does have to be authentic. And when you speak from that place of truth, people listen, not because you've demanded it, but because authenticity is magnetic. It draws people in, not through force, but through genuine connection. This is where your power lies, in your ability to stay true to yourself, even when the world around you tries to sway you. The opinions of others will come and go like the wind, but your truth will remain steady, like the roots of a tree firmly planted in the ground. There will be those who try to shake you, who test your boundaries to see if you'll revert to old patterns of doubt and insecurity. But you won't. You've come too far to be pulled back now. What's fascinating about this transformation is that it doesn't require anyone else's permission. You don't need a sign from the universe, a green light from society. or approval from your peers. The only permission you need is your own. And once you give it to yourself, everything changes. You start to see opportunities where you once saw obstacles. The fear of failure, which once paralyzed you, now becomes a motivator. You understand that failure isn't the end. It's a stepping stone, a lesson, a redirection towards something better. With this mindset, you'll find yourself taking risks you never thought you'd take. You'll step outside your comfort zone, not because it's easy, but because you know that growth doesn't happen in comfort. You'll challenge yourself, push your limits, and discover strengths you didn't know you had. And with each step you take, your confidence will grow. Not the kind of confidence that's rooted in external achievements, but the kind that comes from knowing you're capable of handling whatever life throws your way. There will be moments when you look back and marvel at how far you've come. The person you once were, the one who doubted their every move, who second-guessed their decisions, will feel like a distant memory. You'll remember the pain, the struggles, and the moments when you wanted to give up, but you'll also remember how you kept going. And that will be your greatest achievement. Not the external success, but the internal victory of knowing you never gave up on yourself. As you continue to rise, you'll attract people who resonate with this new version of you. They'll see your growth, your strength, and your resilience, and they'll be drawn to it. Some will want to learn from you, to understand how you've managed to transform your life. Others will simply be inspired by your presence, by the way you carry yourself with grace and confidence. But not everyone will celebrate your growth. Some will be intimidated by it because your transformation forces them to confront their own stagnation. And that's okay. Not everyone is meant to come with you on this journey. Letting go of people who no longer align with your path isn't easy, but it's necessary. You'll grieve the loss of certain relationships, not because you need them, but because they once held meaning in your life. But as you release them, you'll make space for new connections, ones that support your growth and uplift your spirit. You'll realize that the quality of your relationships matters far more than the quantity. It's not about how many people are in your life, but about how deeply they connect with your soul. These new connections will feel different. They'll be rooted in mutual respect, understanding, and support. You won't have to pretend to be someone you're not to fit in. You'll be accepted for who you are, flaws and all, because the people you attract will see your authenticity as your greatest strength. They won't try to change you or dim your light. Instead, they'll encourage you to shine even brighter. And as your circle shifts, so will your perspective on success. The things you once chased, recognition, status, and external validation, will no longer hold the same importance. Success will be redefined, not by society's standards, but by your own. You'll measure it by the level of peace you feel, the authenticity you embody, and the impact you have on those around you. You'll realize that true success isn't about what you achieve externally, but about how you feel internally. This shift in perspective will bring a sense of fulfillment that can't be bought or manufactured. It's the kind of fulfillment that comes from knowing you're living a life aligned with your purpose. And when you're in alignment, everything flows more easily. Opportunities come to you, not because you're chasing them, but because you're attracting them. The energy you put out into the world is returned to you, amplified and abundant. But with this abundance comes responsibility. The power you've cultivated isn't just for you. It's meant to be shared. As you rise, you'll find yourself naturally drawn to uplifting others, to sharing your knowledge and wisdom with those who are still finding their way. You'll become a beacon of hope, a living example that it's possible to rise above adversity and create a life that feels meaningful and authentic. You'll encounter situations where others try to test your boundaries, hoping that the old version of you, the one who compromised, who bent to others' will, might still exist. But they'll quickly realize that you've evolved beyond that version. You've become someone who knows how to say no without guilt, someone who can walk away without second-guessing themselves, and someone who understands that preserving their peace is more important than pleasing others. This isn't a lesson you learned overnight. It came from experience, from the times you gave too much, stayed too long, and ignored the warning signs your intuition tried to give you. But now, those lessons have become wisdom. And with that wisdom, you've developed an unshakable trust in yourself. You know that you can rely on your instincts, that your inner voice is a guide you can always count on, and that ignoring it comes at a cost you're no longer willing to pay. As you continue to grow, you'll notice how much lighter you feel. The emotional baggage you once carried, resentment, regret, and anger, no longer weighs you down. You've learned to release it, to forgive not just others, but yourself. You've realized that holding on to pain only prolongs your suffering, and that forgiveness isn't about excusing what happened, but about freeing yourself from its hold. With every ounce of forgiveness you give, you reclaim a piece of your soul. And as your soul heals, you begin to glow with a light that others can't help but notice. That glow, that energy, becomes your most powerful asset. It's not something you can fake or force. It comes from within, from the peace of knowing you're living a life that aligns with your values and purpose. People will be drawn to it, not because you're trying to impress them, but because genuine energy is irresistible. They'll see your light and wonder how you cultivated it, but only you will know the depths you had to explore to get here. This is why your journey matters. The struggles you faced, the tears you cried, and the battles you fought. They weren't for nothing. They were preparing you for this moment, for this version of yourself that is unbreakable. The person you've become is a testament to your resilience, and as you embrace that truth, you realize that no external force can take it away from you. What's within you is eternal, and that's where your strength lies. You'll begin to notice how the world responds differently to you. Where once you felt ignored, overlooked, or underestimated, you now command attention without even trying. People will listen when you speak, not because you're louder, but because your words carry weight. You've become someone who doesn't need to explain themselves because your actions speak for you. The way you carry yourself, the way you navigate challenges, and the way you treat others, it all reflects the power you've cultivated within. This power isn't about dominance or control. It's about influence, the kind of influence that comes from authenticity and integrity. People will follow your lead, not because you've demanded it, but because they recognize the strength in your humility, the wisdom in your words, and the courage in your actions. You'll become a beacon of light for those who are lost, a reminder that it's possible to rise even when the odds are stacked against you. But with great power comes great responsibility. You'll find that as you rise, others will look to you for guidance. Some will seek your advice, hoping you can help them find their way. Others will simply observe, taking inspiration from the way you live your life. And while it's not your job to save anyone, your presence alone will have an impact. You'll lift others by showing them what's possible, by living in a way that encourages them to believe in their own potential. This is the ripple effect of authenticity. It doesn't require grand gestures or public displays. It happens quietly, subtly, but its impact is profound. As you empower yourself, you naturally empower others, and as they rise, they'll inspire even more people to do the same. It's a chain reaction of transformation that extends beyond what you can see, and it all starts with you choosing to live authentically. You'll reach a point where you no longer fear failure, rejection, or judgment. These things will still happen, but they won't define you. You'll understand that failure is simply a part of success, that rejection is redirection, and that judgment is often a projection of others' insecurities. You'll move through life with a sense of freedom that comes from knowing you're not here to live up to anyone else's expectations. You're here to live your truth, to follow your path, and to fulfill your purpose. This freedom will allow you to dream bigger, to take risks you once thought were impossible, and to pursue goals that ignite your passion.